Welcome to Canada's fake labor shortage, probably the worldwide what's going on, and the job bank in Canada that cannot be audited.
I've got one that can see.
This is what's
Canada
happening in
was
Canada.
a country once seen as the
Long
ultimate
time.
destination for Indians to move abroad. Now hundreds of immigrants seem to be standing in long queues for just 5 jobs.
तो गाइस यही रियलिटी है कनाडा की। अगर तुम इस चीज के लिए प्रिपेयर्ड हो तो ही इंडिया से यहाँ पर आओ, अदरवाइज इंडिया ही बढ़िया है।
This is a video shot by an Indian woman living in Canada, which has now gone viral, in which she shows the long queue outside a job fair venue in Toronto. In fact, she says this whole queue is for an intern level job and not even a high profile position.
Like we saw
I
in
lived
the
through that.
movies.
I'm in my mid-40s.
Guys, this video has sparked a big debate on social media, with thousands of comments pouring in from struggling immigrants and international students living in Canada. Many of them are echoing the same sentiment of how the job markets are oversaturated, hiring is slow, and survival isn't as glossy as immigration brochures would suggest. This reality check comes at a time when Canada's immigration numbers are at an all-time high, but so are the job losses, economic pressures, and inflation. In recent months, major Canadian cities have seen a surge of highly educated immigrants taking up jobs like food delivery, warehouse work, or gig-based cleaning simply to stay afloat. And it's not just Toronto. Job seekers report the same crisis in other parts of Canada. Too many qualified candidates, but
And this
too
happening
few
in the US as
opportunities.
well.
One man's quest to find a job is raising questions about the labor shortage right now. He says he applied to more than 60 entry-level positions. Entry-level. But he got one interview, and he's not the only one. As Fox 13's Jordan Bowen reports, jobs are posted, people are qualified, but for some, in fact for many, the hiring isn't happening.
You're a bad man.
For people like
can't find
Tanya Zom, the job search has been a never-ending cycle of submitting applications, following up with calls, but getting no responses.
It's like frustrating because I know myself, because I used to work at an Taylor as a sales lead position. So why now no one is accepting me as the same sales lead position?
Azam also previously worked as a medical assistant and has a bachelor's degree, but has been out of work for the last 5 months after her former employer reduced her hours. Now she says no job is off the table. She's applied for entry-level jobs at Target, Walmart, TJ Maxx, McDonald's, Outback Steakhouse, and anywhere else that's hiring, but hasn't received a single interview.
They just say, we are waiting for the hiring manager to come and they can call you back. Or you have to wait a couple of days so we can see it, your application online. And no one just called me back.
Like Azam, Joey Holtz, a former food service worker and charter boat crewman, is running into the same problem.
This doesn't make any sense. If everybody's hiring and everybody's so desperate for employees, then why aren't they even responding to an email?
So he started an experiment, applied to 2 jobs a day
Kinda like
for
what I did
30
here, you'll
days.
see.
Of the 60 positions he applied to, he received 9 email responses, 1 follow-up call, and 1 interview for a construction job advertised as a full-time position paying $10 an hour, but turned it down when he learned it was only part-time. According to a survey of more than 1,800 job seekers by the career site Flex Jobs.
We'll end that. Anyway, here, over the last few weeks, I've been testing whether employers who claim they can't find Canadians who will actually respond to Canadian applicants. But while doing that, I discovered something much bigger, much bigger. As you see in the background here with the Canadian Job Bank here. Oh my goodness gracious, you would not believe this, man. I discovered something much bigger. I tried to do something that should be trivial in a democracy. We claim to live in a democracy in Canada. Well, democracy means ruled by the mob, by the many. Many people don't know that. It's like inviting everyone to dinner, sheep and wolves to dinner, and the wolves are telling everyone that they're going to eat the sheep. So I tried to archive job postings on Canada's official job bank so they could be independently reviewed later. Okay? What I discovered is that Canada's job bank is not stable, not auditable, and not designed in a way that allows independent verification of claimed labor shortages by employers, small and large.
Just don't have those bodies.
And once you see how it works, it raises serious questions. Yep, you have to go in a happy place very often these days because it's crazy. It raises serious questions about whether Canada's so-called labor shortage is even real in the way people think it is and politicians think it is. Job Bank isn't only a job board. It's the primary public interface the federal government uses to demonstrate labor shortages, okay? It's the tool employers are required to use when applying for labor market impact assessments, LMIA.
We do need to do more
I'll put the text
to
up
fight
here.
anti-Black racism.
And this is ostensibly what they use to justify bringing in temporary foreign workers. So when politicians say employers can't find Canadians, this is one of the systems that claims to be based on, right? They say employers can't find Canadians, yet they're bringing in all kinds of people. Which means Job Bank is not just informational, it's evidence infrastructure. And it has to be auditable. So I conducted a small good faith test, okay, over the past 3 weeks. I sent neutral inquiries to about 35 work postings on this Job Bank that explicitly referenced LMIA, or Labor Market Impact Assessment, or temporary foreign worker recruitment. I asked 3 simple questions: whether training was available, whether Canadians were being considered, how to formally apply. Okay, those are the 3 main questions. And I didn't accuse them of anything. I did not follow up. I did not automate anything. After 2 weeks, only 5 employers responded. Okay, only out of 35, only 5 responded. That's only about 14% engagement rate with a Canadian applicant. Therefore, any single employer you might be wondering, like, they might have missed the email. The employer might have missed the email, but when nearly 86% don't respond at all, that raises serious policy questions. Okay, doesn't that make sense? And it's statistical. It might not be a huge sample, like 1,000 that you need for a good, solid statistical sample, but how many people are going to sit there and ask 1,000 employers that without automation? That takes a lot of time. What I discovered next was even worse. I tried to archive the work postings on the Job Bank.
Why do you have to label people? I hate labels.
The ones I contacted so they could be independently reviewed later. That should not be trivial. I mean, sorry, that should be trivial. It should be trivial.
Well, I guess so.
There you go. You copy the URL, the Universal Resource Locator, on the Job Bank. See, I'll give you a Job Bank here. Let's see. I'll give you let's see, a common welder. Let's see. Let's put the welder in. Let's narrow it down. Let's go back here at welder, LMIA. There's a lot of welders. There's a lot of employers asking for labor market impact assessments. They're asking for temporary foreign workers. Okay, and you copy the URL. Here's a URL right here, right? And you take the screenshots, you run a bulk archiver, you store the evidence. That's usually what would happen on a typical website that does not disguise work postings, but Job Banks does. But that's not what happens on Job Bank. What I discovered is this: many Job Bank postings are first issued with a 6 or 7 digit job ID. Like here, I'll show you. Here it is. There's the job ID. Okay, right there in the highlight, and you can see it highlighted. Okay. Later, I did this. That's a 6 or 7 digit job ID. Later, the same job may still be live and visible to humans, but only under a new 8-digit user ID, and only when accessed through Job Bank's internal search flow. The old ID just shows job no longer advertised. Here, I'll show you. Let's see what I could do here. Okay, I copied this, right? Go back to search. Yeah. Paste it in here. And it says not found. If you don't believe me, I'll try it again. I'll try another one. See, it says not found. Yeah. Okay, let's say Executive Vice President, Trade, Broadcasting, and Other Services. Can you believe this? They're looking for a temporary foreign worker for this. High end and low end, that's what they're looking for. Okay, I copied this number and then go to search. You type it in here. It's going to do the same thing again. You're not going to be able to find it based on that number. There you go. I told you. Therefore, there's no redirect, no explanation, no public mapping that the job still exists. But the original URL is dead. The original URL is dead, which means any evidence trail you created is silently broken. This isn't merely annoying. It's catastrophic for auditing, right? Bulk screenshots tools fail, archiving services are expired or given 410 responses, which says not found, as you can see right here. Headless browsers can't see what humans see. There is no way there's no programmatical map of old job IDs to new ones, okay? There is no public record of edits or reissuances. There is no version history. There is no archive, which means the only way to document postings is to manually search. Click and add, screenshot them one by one in a normal browser session. And once a posting disappears or mutates, it leaves no public trace, as I showed you. Functionally, that prevents independent auditing. Longitudinal analysis, pattern detection, verification of employer behavior, verification of labor shortages over time. So what does a fake labor shortage actually mean? It doesn't mean there are no job postings. It means there are no jobs on paper. I'm sorry, it means there are jobs on paper, but not real jobs, not real work positions at wages and conditions Canadians can accept, or jobs that exist formally, but not functionally for domestic workers. Therefore, employers will say, we can't find workers. But what that really means is we can't find workers at the wages and conditions we are offering. This is not a labor shortage. This is a price signal. This is a price signal. In a real labor shortage, wages rise, training increases, working conditions improve, recruitment efforts intensify, right? But in Canada, for decades, we've seen the opposite. And I'm guessing in probably the United States, but for this video's purposes, we're just covering Canada. But we covered the United States version there. We see stagnant wages in Canada, falling training, rising immigration, rising housing costs, rising competition for work or jobs just over broke. This is not a genuine labor shortage. This explains why so many Canadians have struggled to find stable, well-paid work for decades, including myself. This system is flooded with labor supply. Employers are not forced to compete for workers. Wages don't rise. Training disappears. Job postings become performative. LMIAs, or labor market impact assessment, become procedural. And the job bank becomes a paper machine that generates the appearance of shortages without testing reality. So you get this surreal situation which we're explaining. Politicians say there's a labor shortage. Canadians say they can't find work. Employers say no one applies. And no one is empirically verifying any of it. This means the LMIA system is built on a public interface that erases its own history. Get that? This means that the LMIA system is built on a public interface that erases its own history. Employers claim labor shortages. Job bank postings are used to justify these claims, okay? But the public cannot independently verify these things: whether Canadians applied, whether employers responded, whether postings were stable, whether jobs actually existed in the same form over time. In other words, labor shortages are being claimed or asserted using a system that cannot be independently audited. I raised these concerns directly with the job bank. I asked them by email, I asked them how employers' responsiveness is tracked. How is employer responsiveness tracked? Whether non-engagement is audited, whether the job IDs are deliberately reissued. Are they reissued? Are the job IDs reissued? How postings can be independently archived, right? These are normal questions. I'm currently awaiting a response. I'm also submitting the findings to various politicians and journalists. If you want to test this yourself, go to jobbank.ca like we have here. Click up posting. Search, do it yourself. Search for LMIA and pick a high-end work position, maybe a low-end work position. And it's very slow, this website. That means it's probably being heavily hit by lots of traffic. Home support worker. You know, this is Vancouver, $20 an hour, $24 an hour. They claim they can't find people. Yep. So there you go. You can copy the job ID. Copy the job ID here. It's right here. They're all the same. These are all not, the job ID is the same as this one. Oh no, it's not the same as this one. See, these are different. See, this is different than this. So copy the job ID, copy this, bookmark the URL, bookmark it if you want, bookmark it, you can bookmark it here, you know how to do that. Come back in a few days, search for the same job again. You may find the job is still active, but your original link is dead. This should concern anyone who cares about labor market integrity. Yep. Like I said, the job market is not auditable. Therefore, what we need to do is follow the directions I gave you. Maybe apply to you don't even have to apply. You can apply with basic questions. Do you hire Canadians? Those types of questions. You can just send the employer an email, wait 2 or 3 weeks to see if you get a reply back, and copy the which ones did reply. Then you can do what I'm doing here, make a video or log the results in a spreadsheet or a basic Word document, merely to find the results. How many people replied? How many people didn't reply? That's the goal. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope we can try to awaken the masses regarding the situation.